again. Do. If you guys are online, definitely hit me up with questions. I'm monitoring the dashboard. Oh, I see a couple people jumping online. All right, so again, what I'm doing on here right now is just trying to check some equipment. It works good. You guys are hearing me good. Thanks, Jameson. David, what's up, brother? How you doing? All right. So as I'm testing equipment, it looks like I'm putting out on 720p. I want to do 1080p, but for some reason this device that wasn't liking the 780p. I'm sorry, 1080p at 60 frames a second. For some reason, my output device was putting that out, but as soon as I dropped it down to 720, it at 60 frames a second, it works fine, which is the weirdest thing in the world here. It's a weird setup. I got like everything connected here. I'm surprised I haven't started a small fire with the amount of hardware in here. But anyway, good recovering from regionals. Yes, I am recovering from regionals. I have to admit that was a crazy event. Watching on a cell phone makes me wonder if it's worth it. Coming clearly, great. All right. Yeah, so I'll talk about regionals. Nims and I are going to be talking about more in depth about regionals. I faced the first 3 matches. I don't know, my dice just did not want to work for me whatsoever. It was insane. I was point blank range. Like the first list I was flying against, and I was actually flying my baby blues, and this was the last match for my baby blues. I'm actually going to retiring those baby blues, and the funny part is I was playing up against a Dengar Mist Hunter Z95 combo of my first match, and it was a great. It was the guy was really good. He knew what he was doing. And I saw Dengar, and I was coming in with the in formation, and I don't with Dengar's ability and my dice, like I was at point blank range of Dengar several times, and I could not take him out. My dice, I would be rolling like four dice with a focus modifier, and I would get blank, 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 and maybe a focus or maybe one hit, and it was just like that for all the ships. It was just not converting, and then of course my defensive dice, the green dice, were just failing. It was horrible. And that led me into the next second round, which was I was facing Palp Aces, which my list is not very strong against. I always have a hard time with my list. And I tried different things. I tried to slow it up, and that wasn't successful. The third round, another set of Palp Aces. It was I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I was like the bottom of the barrel, sorry. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, oh, this is horrible. But the funny part is I changed my game. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do what I do best. I'm going to fly my swarm. I'm going to fly it in fast, hard hitting. And the fourth match, I faced a pair of Brobots. Guy was flying him really good, but he just didn't have the firepower. I was shooting from all angles. He wound up taking one T-70 out, one baby blue out. But I still had almost 3 other T-70s full health, and with that Talon roll and the K-turn mix combination, it was unpredictable on what I'm going to be able, what I'm going to do, and I actually had some key blocks, so I won that match. So now 1-3 after those 3 original losses. I was feeling really bummed out. I know I'm not going to make the top 16, but I said, you know what? This is the last hoorah for the Blues, and it was, I said, all right. So then the fifth match, I wound up playing a pair of, 3 Caraxi fighters, Taliban, the 2 aces, or I should say 2 uniques, and then was one regular that had secondary missions. I think they were concussion missiles. Actually, it was a nice setup. But I'll do more in depth. I actually have all the screenshots of the lists and everything, and I'll go more in depth when I'm here with Nims. But it was crazy because I had the block of the century. I'm coming up. Oh, I just hit the mic. Coming up hard like I normally do from the side, and I came in. I did 1 boost over, so I'm already turned. Then I did a 2 into the center. So now I'm sitting in the center, and he's coming from the opposite side, and he was banked. There was a debris field that was just sitting right here that was lined up with my top 2 ships, but my bottom 2 ships can clear it. And I'm looking at that. I'm like, if I do a 4 and a boost over, right, I think I can block him on the bottom. And then if I do a 3 bank turn like this and then a 1 hard over boost, I can block him the top because I did not want him to fire that secondary weapons. I wanted to get it close as possible. Ironically, you want to get as close as possible to enemy fighters, which is kind of a little bit different way of thinking. But the best way I can describe it, an example of that is like if you ever took, like, I took Kempo when I was younger and took a lot of Kempo, and one of the things they teach you is like if somebody's swinging a baseball bat at you or some kind of weapon, right? They say actually getting closer. Because the baseball bat, is a longer weapon. It can hit you. So I use that concept um, to basically getting closer, so the secondary weapons won't fire. But sure enough, at the same time, I blocked him. I said, well, if he's trying to wrap around that debris, he's not going to try to go through it. And I blocked him by doing that. So all 3 of his fighters went boom, 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 and just butted up against each other. And the cool part about that was when he did that, I was able to Talon roll K, this and that, and it was just his back was turned to me, forced him through the debris field, and then long and short of it all was took him out. So now I'm 2-3, and in the final match, ironically, I drove 2 hours to play somebody that already played in Charlotte. He was actually playing a Ghost and a Super Dash combo. And so we played each other with the exact same lists, and I won at the store, the practice match that we were just doing casual play. But when we faced each other, he knew my strategy and my secrets. So instead of leaving 3 T70s on the board when we were doing the practice match, he took me down to 1 T70 against Super Dash. It was just a battle royale going down to like the last couple minutes of the 75-minute round, and I went 3 for 3. But anyway, it was a great thing. All right, so coming in clearly, thanks, Benedict. David says it was. Jameson, I got destroyed at the Fresno Regis with 5 crack A-wings. Yeah, I'm on the fence with those crack shots. I mean, it's great, and I love A-wings. I think an A-wing swarm is great. It's just like a TIE fighter swarm, and it's like just like a TIE fighter crack swarm, but a little bit more, I think a little bit more flexible. But it's a difficult list, I think, to master, especially with all the different combinations that you're going up against, and especially to get, if you're running like the Green Squadron pilots of the A-wings, and you're running 5 of those, it's hard because if you want the ability to barrel roll, and it's great for blocking. I love the A-wing for blocking. It's great because you just sit there, you block it, barrel roll. People didn't know that you going to barrel roll, and boost. But it's great for blocking, but I think it's just hard. It's hard flying swarms. It really is. I think in some of this meta today, it was actually pretty interesting. Have you ever thought about, Jason asks, have you ever thought about running a 6 swarm just to screw with people? I was on Vassal. I was watching a Vassal match, right? And while I was on running the Vassal match, all of a sudden I get a ping from this guy. And I'm looking at the name. I said, that name sounds very familiar, but it was a call sign name. And he was talking about, it was actually, after I found out, it was Ryan Fleming, the guy who won the Hoth Open with the 3 U-boat list. So Ryan Fleming and I were bullshitting for at least about an hour back and forth through the chat, through Vassal. And he was talking about that. I think he has to run the sick ship for the whole London thing, the match that he was going to play, and he was talking about swarms and what have you. It's just some people love the ship and some people really hate the ship, but to me it's like an A-wing in a lot of ways, but just in a scum form. But I think it's definitely I actually have, let me see if I can pull it up here. Scum load. Let me see if I can pull it up because I know. Oh, here it is. Let me see if I can pull it up. Let me switch camera views here. Switch to this. All right. So I have this thing called Sick Mind Tricks. It's actually, I don't know if you guys can see this well or not, but it's 3 M3A interceptors. Where are they? With the heavy cannon sick interceptors with heavy laser cannon on all of them. I know it's probably point. I know people from the point perspective is probably going to give me hell for it, but I'm just playing. This was just me list building. I was playing around. And then I had one just with the Antani Mind Link with no title on it. And the thought was that this ship, the bottom one here, is basically just going to run as the focus creator, right? Just keep creating those focuses. And I probably would run rocks with this. Don't definitely not run debris, because if you run through debris and you get stressed, all your ships get distressed. But having the tiny mind link, if this one ship gets, the bottom ship runs first and moves first and that's a focus, everybody gets a focus. And the best part about it is then you can still do a bower roll or a target lock or even invade, right, on top of that, to basically help with defense for the other three ships. And then if you get the heavy laser cannon, right, and you keep it at range, using the heavy laser cannon, it's a secondary weapon, therefore they can't fire at all, can't use an extra bonus dice for their defense. I was just thinking about this combination. But this is my list right here. Let me see if I can pull this up. Let me switch the view over here. My screen is changed because of the... I can't print it out that way. My screen, when I switched over to using my connection, it changes the format of my screen. But you can see here, here's the list. Like I said, I call it Sick Mind Tricks because using the Tiny Mind Link and using the heavy laser cannon. But that's my list that I was playing with. All right, let me switch back to the other camera. All right, here we go. Yeah, but just to screw with people, I just thought that was cool. With heavy laser cannon on a little ship like that, I thought that was pretty wild. Going down to 4 GSP with PTL, Juke, and Jake. Okay, I like that. I like that combination. Juke and Jake. Don't forget your A-Wings engine upgrade. No comment. Everybody, I will never let that down. I'm sitting at the funny part is, it's very humbling to be, to do all this that we do here in SlingPaint Gaming, Nims and I. And it's very humbling when we go to an event and people come up to us and say, hey, great, we love your show and this and that. And it's very humbling. It is. And I love it. I love helping people. I love doing all that. But the funny part is there were several people that have come up to me and said, hey, we want to put that engine upgrade. We want to do a double boost on an A-Wing. I don't know how many times I heard that at the regionals event. Jameson says, sorry, that's 3 GSPs with PTL Juke. Yeah, I got you. Yep. I like that. Jake's pretty cool. I like Jake. Actually, there was a guy that runs Jake in our thing. He ran at the Charlotte Regionals. He was running... actually, was it Jake? Let me... list juggler. Let me see if I can pull that up. List juggler, browse tourneys. All right, let's see here. Browse tourneys. I'm gonna pull this up on my computer here. I'm gonna switch the computer. All right, so you guys can see that. The place we were playing at was Atomic. All right, Atomic. And Atomic Empire, here it is. This was actually pretty cool. It was 109 players, 120 something registered. I think it's like second largest event. But you can see at the regionals event that I went to, it's basically, Palpinaces is who won. Then you actually have Choppa and Miranda Donnie, which was actually a cool combination that came in second overall. But the championship, second for Swiss rank, but champion 15. Hal Runner Quack Swarm did pretty good, came in third place overall. But the guy that I wanted to, I think he was running Jake, he came in, this guy right here, Justin, he's actually a good friend of ours. He plays at our Charlotte local store that we play in Parker Bannon, Kenton Wayne up in Cornelius, North Carolina, every Thursday nights. He usually comes out. But he's actually not native from, he doesn't live in Charlotte area, but the great guy, he missed the mark. I mean, by one slot. He came in 17th. The top 16 was the cut. But if you see his list here, he was running Kyle Catan, Adaptability, Twin Laser Turret Chopper, and Moldy Crow, Jake Farrell, and the A-Wing Test Pilot with Proton Rockets, Vet Instincts, Auto Thrusters, and Push the Limit. And then, of course, running Poe Dameron with the R5P9, Auto Thrusters, and VI. I like this combination. Like, when you think about it, you're like, okay, a lot of people don't play Hawks, but he actually plays the Hawk very nicely. And he uses it for a lot of bait, for lack of better words. I love playing this list, and he does very, very well with this list. He's been playing with this list for a long time, ins and outs, and he knows the ins and outs of this list. So for at least for a couple months, he was playing this, and he does very well. He's actually got a couple store championships underneath his belt, and some surprise won some couple store championships, and he's a phenomenal player. But he just came in 17th overall, missed a cut. But let me switch to the camera back to this view. But anyway, but that's what he was running. Let's see here. Don't they all need MyLink to work? Yes, they all need MyLink. So all 4 ships had MyLink in my list there that I had. Jason, I feel badly for laughing about the boosted A-Wing. No, I would laugh too. So, like I said, the funny part, if you haven't heard that story real fast, it was at the Steel Open, and a half hour before the Marix Marauders tournament, which is a different style of play. And if you actually check our videos on play types, Marix Marauders is there from the Steel Open. It's actually a pretty cool play type if you like that. Just a different thing for X-Wing, 100-point list, but it's pirate list. Like, you can have any ship you want except for some large base ship, except for the shuttle. Shuttle you can have. And I grabbed an A-Wing, a Green Squadron, and you can't have named pilots except for Merrick Steel, because it's the whole Steel event, Steel Open. But anyway, I put a boosted. I think I was looking at the Defender. I grabbed a whole bunch of ships last minute, half hour. Nims is like, "Come on and play." I'm like, "All right, fine, I'll play." And so last minute, half hour, putting a list together, and I grabbed the engine upgrade for the A-Wing. So I lost 3 points. So I still get flack for that. Marksmanship on Bosk. I love it. People, stuff for you here. So I love it. People say I should run calculation and recon, but I disagree in thoughts. Let me look that up, because that's interesting. New squad. Put Bosk. So calculation, when attacking, may spend a focus token to change one of your focus results to a crit result. And then using Bosk's ability to turn the crit result into 2 hits. You know, actually I do like that. Because the focus token for Bosk, you're really not going to use for defense. I mean, you have 1 die. So if you're rolling like 2 or 3 dice, then I would say, yeah, you might want to use it for defense first. But Bosk is probably going to shoot first because he's a 7, so he's gonna be high up there on the food chain as far as shooting. I kind of like calculation. What is the other choices were? I should run calculation and recon. Now the recon specialist that's the one that gives you the focus token, I believe. If you run a red maneuver, I think. Hold on, let me see. When you perform a focus action, assign 1 additional focus token to your ship. If you're thinking about using that as spending a focus token to change that to a crit, then uses Bosk abilities. Actually, my first gut was to use, where is it? Outlaw Tech. Because you're going to do some red maneuvers with that, so you still get a focus token if you do a red maneuver. If you put Outlaw Tech on it, maybe? I don't know. I would probably have to play with it and see what happens, because like I used to run not Bosk. I know Nims runs Bosk a lot, but I used to run a lot of the hounds, and I'm always wishing sometimes if I can get a 2 maneuver. And with the hounds, especially with a stall, the stall's a red maneuver, and the 2 hard turns are red maneuvers. Everything else is pretty much green and white. But I love stalling. So if you're able to stall and get a focus token using basically Outlaw Tech. Actually, you can probably put Outlaw Tech and Recon Specialist. But I don't know if you can use the focus token. No, if you got 2 focus tokens, 1 can be used for that. Yeah, I would think so. It doesn't specify when. As long as you're not modifying the same exact dice, if you're modifying the dice, you're using 1 to trip to a crit. And let's say if you have 2 other focuses, then you actually flip those to use your other second focus. When you perform a focus action, assign 1 additional focus token to your ship. So you perform a focus action. So, see, I don't know if that actually, because that performs the focus action if you get this thing. I have to think about that. But that's a good question. But I like that combination, because then you basically using Bosk's ability. I like that. Great show. Thanks, Hubcam210. I love it. David Atkinson, Calc works really well on Poe. Everyone else sees I would go marksmanship. Yeah, it's how you fly it. I mean, everybody's gonna fly it differently. If Calc works really well on Poe and you fly that and you like that combination, go for it. Especially with the new Poe Dameron coming out as a 9, when that Heroes of Resistance drops. My first thought is with him a 9, and you don't really need any adaptability or VI, and you want to spend your elite talent on calculation. Yeah, because then he's a 9. It's going to cost you 2 points. That's the only thing I don't like about that new card. It's the same exact card, right? But it's costing you, for going up 1 level in skill value, it's costing you 2 points. I don't like that. But I'm trying to understand. Maybe there's reasons for that. Who knows? Stuff for you. I run dual hounds and I love it. Marksmanship is a beast on him. There you go. Okay. Let's see. Jameson says, can you go over the rules regarding the order of playing, modifying their dice, and when? Okay. From what, this is how it was always explained to me. And if I'm wrong, let me know. But if you're the person that rolls first, the person that did not roll the dice modifies next, and then you can modify after that, the person who rolls. So it goes from a defensive purpose and attacking purpose. So if I'm the attacker, right, and I'm rolling the dice, and if I roll the dice, whatever abilities that they have, if they have, I'm trying to think of the ability that changes hits to a focus. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. If a defender has that, right, they can modify that and flip it to flip my hit to a focus, and then I can spend my focus tokens and target locks or what have you to modify my dice. Same thing with defense. So if your like you just did attack, if your defender's rolling the green dice, okay, you, after they roll the green dice, unless it specifies immediately, like the heavy laser cannon says that you have to immediately change crits to a hit, right? Ignoring that, if you're or any other abilities that are like that, it's green dice get rolled. The person who did not roll the green dice, the attacker, then modifies anything that they can modify, and then the attacker comes in and the defender that rolled the green dice then modifies his dice. And there's certain things like with Palpatine and different rules and what have you. Again, usually that's the order, but then there's some cards that hijack that order. All right. I'm gonna jump down here. Roger, you just won me $20. Now you have to explain. Is that because of the order of the modifying the dice? Do I get a cut of that? Do I get $5? Oh, and by the way, guys, speaking of money and this and that, we do have our features where you can actually help donate or fan funding for our channel. If you go to our channel page, this and that, you can definitely donate to the cause, allowing us to buy either future equipment or other ships and other stuff, because we do this pretty much out of pocket. All right. Let's see here. Jack says, we made up a stupid decisions here and there, and I put PTL on Vader once. Understood. I've done the same thing. Actually, I played Vader. I think one of my matches that we have recorded here, somebody was yelling at me in comments because I did the double action for Vader, and I added a stress thinking that it was push the limit. Like I said, sometimes you make mistakes, and when you're playing a list for the first time, it does happen. So I totally understand. Bosk with Outlaw, Marksmanship, Forlorn, Dengar, and Mangler Cannon. I like that. Actually, this is a list. Let me switch my screen here. Let me see if I can show you this. Load Squad. It's a scum list I'm putting it, and I'm calling it. Let me pull this up. I have two lists here. One's called the Bloodhounds, because after I'm retiring the Baby Blues, I want to find another list I want to fly. I have the Bloodhounds and the Fortress. So the Bloodhounds, let me load that up. Discard my changes. The Bloodhounds, okay, reason why I'm calling them Bloodhounds is because I have Intelligent Agents, which at the start of the activation phase, you choose one enemy ship at range 1 and 2, and basically you can look at that ship's chosen maneuver, and then I have Navigator to basically help change my maneuver. Basically, I can choose the same bearing if I wanted to. I have that on my two slavers, and then I have Outlaw Tech, so if I want to stall, and feedback array so I can zap those aces that get next to me close. And then, of course, anti-pursuit lasers, because if I'm knowing where they're going and if I can position my ship and change the bearing and block them using anti-pursuit lasers. And I have two of them, and then I just have a Syndicate Thug with no TLT, but more just the R5P8 to be basically cannon fodder. But the whole thing is, like, if they're shooting at the Y-wing with R5P8, once per round after defending, you may roll one attack die. On a hit result, the attacker suffers 1 damage. On a crit result, you and the attacker suffer 1 damage. So basically, it's a defensive thing. I'm still playing with this because, those big the Houndstooths are really slow to maneuver and stuff. They're really a pain in the ass sometimes. But because of Outlaw Tech and the 2-speed maneuver, if I do a 3 turn, I can change the bearing with Navigator if they're in range 1 and 2 with me. So I have both of them set up that way. I also have this list. Let me load this list. I'm calling it the Fortress, and it kind of plays off the Fortress ability that the two Hounds, but that lock each other. I'm still, like, FFG is a little bit weary on this. Now, I'm not going to have the Fortress the whole time, but the Fortress is basically to get positional, to make myself be able to position myself the way I want. Instead of flying in, I want to slow it up. I want the aces to come to me and basically give them hell because of that, and then potentially engage them after that Fortress, and when they want to turn around, they swing back around. So I'm actually running the Fortress here. They're running, I have Morale Evil with heavy laser cannon, because that's his ability that he can suit the secondary attacks using his auxiliary firing arc with cannons. Outlaw Tech to basically to execute a red maneuver. You assign focus targeting ship. Gunner, just to give him some support with the primary weapon, and anti-pursuit lasers for bumps. But then I also have Dengar, which I love his ability after once per round after defending. If attackers on your firing arc, you may perform an attack against that ship. Running Punishing Wand, K4 Security Droid, which after executing maneuver, you require a target lock. And then using Wingman. And then basically what I'm doing is I'm actually creating a block. So I'm lining up Dengar here to the left, Morello Evil to the right. And depending if it's the other way around on the other side, let's say if I'm on the right side of the board, basically bump up, line up perfectly, do a 1 bank with Morello, and then do Dengar a 1-up. Now he's bumping. Now in that first turn, because he's bumping, right, I'm creating this Fortress. Now with the 180 firing arc of the Hound and the 360-degree firing arc with Dengar, I'm basically creating this Fortress in the corner of the map that allows me to basically set up and wait for the aces to come in. And the aces are going to take pop shots, right? They're going to try to get in close and try to take pop shots at me. But now the next turn, I do a stall on Morello Evil, so I hold him there. Because I'm turned and cockeyed, one maneuver with the Jump Master won't be able to get completed. So I do a stall. Now, once I do a stall, the red maneuver, Outlaw Tech kicks in, so I still get a focus. Great. I can still shoot my heavy laser cannon at my 180 firing arc, range 2 to 3. Great. Then the Jump Master does another 1 forward, okay? When he does the 1 forward, right, because he executed a green maneuver, K4 Security Droid comes to play. So I'm still getting some sort of action using a target lock because he did a green maneuver. But I keep doing that every turn, and then at a particular point when I think I'm ready, then engage the ships and come in. But when their backs are turned to me. So because they're flying in, one of the hardest part is they arc dodge, barrel roll, boost back into you, and then they're behind you. Right, I don't want those ships to be behind me. So this whole thing is to create a Fortress. Now, FFG, again, is a little bit on the fence on this whole Fortress thing. But I'm not stalling play. I'm stalling play, waiting for the right moment. And then when they have to turn around, because I'm in the corner of the board, then I can engage them. Again, It's a little on the border of the effigy, but I'm designing the ships so I can take advantage and take those aces down. Again, it's a list. I just put it together. There was some Fortress articles that I basically took some content off of. They actually had two. They had Bosk and Morello. I'm using Dengar. I like Dengar's ability because you shoot at him. You can have potentially a defensive tack for that. Let's see here. And Hotshot Blaster. Love some. I put Hotshot Blaster on my Triple Hounds, if I remember correctly. I think I used it once out of the several times I played with the Triple Hounds. I'm always on the fence with Hotshot Blaster because those ships are so big and I can turn around so easily. But then again, I wasn't playing aces a lot, so probably against aces that might make sense. But anyway, Ben Foley, love the channel. Thanks for all the crazy lists. That's what it's about. We want to, definitely figure out, different things to break the meta. You know what? Actually, I want to show you this to you guys. Me and Nims are gonna do a video on this, but I wanted to give you guys a heads up. So on this List Juggler website, let me pull this up here. If you go to, I think it's the World Heat map on here. This shows all the major regional tournaments. They upload all the lists and data, and they kind of show you. No, it wasn't this one. Let's see. Is it time series charts? List archetypes. Here it is. Is this the one with the map? The heat map? Oh, it's loading. Nope. Where's the one with the time series charts? There's a page in here that shows you a graph of when all the waves drop and all the meta of different lists and list types and what's being played here. And we were going to do an article about this. Of course, things are hanging up here. What's the story? Here we go. Yep, this is it. Okay. All right. If you guys are looking at this, okay, let me see if I can do... Actually, hold on one sec here. Let's put me back in. Hold on one sec. I'm going to just do a picture-in-picture real fast. Let's see if I can get this to work here. And then down, make that picture-in-picture as well. Give me one sec here. I didn't set up my stuff here beforehand. All right, let's see if I can get this to work. All right, so that's that. Then if I do the effects... No, effects. Why is it not working? Of course it's not working. Effect. No, that's me. I want this with me. There I am. See that pretty? I got myself in the corner. All right, let's see here. All right, let me actually move myself down. I'll put myself in the top right corner. There we go. All right, so you guys can still see me. So if you look at this list juggler, this was pretty cool. I like this a lot. So this shows you all the meta that when like different waves drop and different things here. But I wanted to start showing you this. One right off the bat is when we went to the regionals, even the Steel Open, one of the common themes I'm going to try to explain to everybody is I did not see a lot of, there was like at the regionals, there was a lot of Rebel Imperial Aces. But the funny part is I want to say maybe 20%, 15%, if I look at the lists, were Imperial Aces. Everything else was a combination of different things. Double Ghost, Single Ghost, Ghost and Dash. But this is what we're starting to see, and this is why I wanted to, like everybody says, okay, you got to build for the meta, and the meta is Imperial Aces, or the meta is triple U-boats. Now, granted, yes, when your new wave ship comes out, you're probably going to see a lot of that, that single ship. But look at this data, okay? Data does not lie. We don't capture all the things here, but you got Rebel Alliance, Galactic Empire, Scum and Villainy. The last, I want to say, 2-3 months, even across the last year or two, it's been almost even. You almost get a third and a third and a third of all the different lists. That's pretty wild to look at that. Then I want to show you this too as well. This right here is showing you And you can see where each wave drops. Like here, right, in this mark right here, 2016-3, which is March. You see where wave 8 dropped, and then you can see the Imperial Salt Carrier, wave T70 and TIFO. But what I wanted to show you was, look what's happening in May. Okay, it's besides the Jump Master list that's coming out, but it's still, the Jump Master list is still less than, it's almost about 20% of the list you're going to see Jump Master lists. But look at everything else. It's a mixture of different things. You know, you have an aggressor, so usually an aggressor is the Brobots. You have TIE Interceptor, TIE Fighters, VCX 100. Again, this is by ship. But this is interesting. You know, it's like there's no, besides Jump Masters being a little bit more than everybody else, it's pretty wide open. Even this is the pilots, right? This shows you by pilots, the top pilots are being used. And you can see Contracted Scout for the Jump Masters is probably yielding almost 20%. Everything else, the top ones, the Inquisitor, IG-88B, Soon to Be Felled, Dash Rendar, Omicron Pilot, IG-88C, Darth Vader, Poe Dameron, and Whisper, you know, they have probably, I want to say, 10% across the board. It's just very interesting. And here's some of the upgrades, all right? Again, it's pretty straightforward. You can see the big, huge orange in the center. The orange in the center was Twin Laser Turret, all right? But when Wave 8 dropped, the Twin Laser Turret became obsolete. See how it also instantly disappeared? And now it's only yielding 10%. So, you know, I know FFG looks at this data because when they drop new ships or drop new things, they always try to keep everything even. But here's pilot skill. It's all across the board. I mean, you have pilot skill 8 as probably the biggest chunk. All right. Right behind it is a pilot skill 2. All right. Then you have pilot skill value 3, which is all your Jump Masters. Pilot skill value 2 is my Baby Blues. I'm all 2s. But this is, again, all data across the world. It's pretty wild to look at. Again, let me send you. I'll send you this link here. Let me put it in the chat. Let's see if I can switch back to my chat to myself. Let me go back to the chat here. I'm gonna put this in the comments right now. List data. There you go. I put that in the comments so you guys can see that. All right. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you because we're going to talk more about it in a regular video with Nims and I. But it was just pretty interesting to see that because when we went to the regionals, it was all over the place. All right. So the $20. Brian Stone. For fun, I've been playing with Taliban Cobra with Opportunist. I like Taliban Cobra. I love his ability. A good range 1 attack could sling 6 dice. Ooh, 6 dice. It's just as bad as the Ghost. The Ghost is ridiculous. I have a video that we're going to push up. A lot of people have been commenting that because we didn't do commentary, so it's a store, so you hear a lot of background noise and stuff. We're going to work on some potential commentary, but I'm going to keep uploading these videos because we didn't set them. They've already been uploaded to YouTube. But I'm playing a double Ghost list against my Baby Blues, and that was horrendous. It was a hard match. I lost the match. It was a practice match, but it was fun because I learned a lot about the double Ghost and how painful they can be. I already funded. Jason, you're awesome. I love it. You should set up Patreon. Actually, I was thinking about that. I was on the fence because YouTube has a thing, but I might set up a Patreon. I might do that because I did set up a Patreon account, but I don't think I did anything formal with it. But I'll take a look at it. Submitted my hounds list so far. I'm 6-2 with that. I can't wait to hear you guys' opinions on it. Great, 6-2. Just keep flying it. I mean, if you're 6-2, you've flown it 8 times. Who did you lose to? I'm kind of curious on the 2 lists that you lost to. Put it in the comments. Fortress is almost identical to the one I'm run. It's annoying for aces. Yeah, I think it is. And to me, I hate to say it, but even like the contracted scouts, the jump masters, and what have you, if they got to all work themselves in a corner, right? And the only, potentially there's some ships that may run off the board because of that. Because let's say if you position it right moment, and you're locked in that corner, and you move your ships out of the way, there's a potential where if you move your ships right out of the way at the right moment, they can fly off the board by accident, or their next move, because let's say they're going to just do a one forward, one forward, one forward, one forward, just keep bumping you, and all of a sudden you're like, you know what, I'm going to move. I'm going to do a 3 forward or a 3 bank turn or whatever the case may be. You get out of the way, they do their one forward, and the next turn they're going to fly off the board. That would be sick. That would be pretty cool. You could put Wingman and Outlaw on 2 hounds and never move and bump. Nice. And it is legal, but like there was a video, I think it was last year, that one of the game designers was keeping an eye on that ability. The thing is, though, is if you sit in the whole corner the whole time, I think that's when people start getting, a little upset about it. But if you are planning that and you're stalling, and it's a tactic. Like to me, it's a tactic. Like I would stall and wait for my opponent to come to me. Let them come to me, to my grounds where I know where I can maneuver in and out, of the thing, and then I can make my position when their back's a turn. So to me, it's a tactic. But if you're sitting there the whole time, that's the thing. It's like the whole thing is like you're I think one of the rules it states like you can't manipulate the ships to what they're not supposed to be doing or something. I forget what the rule is. It's weird. Jason Smith says, Bingo Dave. Thanks for showing me Heroes of the Atari Cluster. The AI is fun and entertaining. Yeah, we're actually, there is a podcast that's called The Shuttle Tidarium. I believe it's on our resource page. So if you go to, let me pull it up here so you can, I'll put the link in the comments here. X-Wing, if you hover over X-Wing, go to X-Wing resource list. I don't have a Atari cluster on. Oh, I don't have a Atari cluster on the X-Wing list. I got to add that. But here, let me show you the Shuttle Tidarium. Just actually released another episode 4 of their show, and they were talking about that in episode 3 and 4. I actually was listening to them. They're actually pretty good. Let me put this in the comments here. Resource page. Yeah, I can spell. Resource page. All right. There you go. Yeah, the AI. So we want to get together with those guys because they're here local too in Charlotte area, and they actually play at the shop that we play at. And we were thinking about getting together and doing a like either a trench run or play some Heroes of the Atari Cluster, and just have some fun. And if you guys don't know what that is, Heroes of the Atari Cluster. Let me pull this up. Let me see if I Heroes of the Atari Cluster. It's a game designed to play with an AI where you can either play one player yourself against an AI, or you can play 2 players against an AI-driven thing. Here, let me copy the link. I'll put it in the YouTube. Atari Cluster. I spelled it wrong. Oh, it's too big. Oh, hold on one sec here. Undo. Let me see if I click on that link. There we go. Control C. Bring my dashboard over. There we go. So the whole Atari cluster thing, it allows you to play these missions, right? And you got, there's a whole things you got to print out. Some people laminate it. It's a thick book. When you first look at it, you're like, holy crap. If you have somebody that plays it, and we're probably going to do a video or 2 of it very soon because we were talking to the guys at Shuttle Tidarium podcast, and check them out on our resource list. I think it's like the last thing. Great podcast, great bunch of guys. They're more on the casual play instead of the competitive play. They really enjoy casual play more than the competitive play. They do play competitively here and there, but they play Dagobah Dan's or Dave's trench run. There's a couple things that we're going to start talking with them so we can show some videos on that stuff and maybe record some of the actual footage and stuff of that, and so you guys can learn and see just different styles of play, because like when you're playing 100 point X-Wing all the time, after a while it's like, okay, I want to break for something else. That's why we have in our YouTube channel under playlists, we have game types. So there's a couple of game types that we started playing that's different. Most of them that we've put up there thus far are competitive. There's one called Tag Team Furball, which is really not a competitive. It's just more a fun thing if you got 4 buddies and you want to just play and have a good time. There's also a match that we have recorded of that as well. But it's just different styles of play using the same ship. So if you want to take a break from the competitive scene and just have a fun time, that's good. All right. Let's see the comments here. Sent you a Garvin Dutch essage list all about action economy and ordnance. Ordnance. I think a lot of ordnance is going to start coming back. One of the things I did see at some of the regionals, I did not play, besides proton torpedoes, missiles, and stuff, because of guidance chips. Guidance chips really helped that meta out and brought a lot of that back into play because it's a free modification. It's a 0-point modification and actually allows you to change dice results, which is nice. One dice result. You're gonna. I'm also. I think I started seeing a lot of people bring back a lot of the bombs. And reason why is just again just something different to break up the monotony, and especially with Imperial Aces. Now, don't get me wrong, Imperial Aces is great. If you have a guy that flies Imperial Aces, that's awesome. I have much respect for Imperial Aces because there's people that fly them that really good, and there's also newer people or inexperienced people. It's a hard list to learn when you think about it. Like, okay, I'm just gonna maneuver my ship after everybody else's ship in arc dodge. It's harder said than done. But with enough practice and you keep playing that same list, you can become a very skilled player, and it's a nasty list to play against. But it's one of the things though is it's like everybody plays them, so you start seeing a lot of them. So I like just playing a little bit different things and try different things to beat those main lists. That's what the concept of Baby Blues were. It was just I want to play something not in the meta. I want to play something against the meta that can, for lack of a better word, break the meta. Now I know my Baby Blues weren't going to handle that or be able to break that because they're lower skill value pilots. I was sometimes I can block. At the right time, what have you, but it's always going to be harder when somebody can maneuver their ship after you maneuver yours. One of the lists I'm actually working on is actually an Aces list on the Rebel side, using double X-Wing and one T-70, using Wedge West and Elo Asti actually as a combination, and using some special astromech abilities. Putting an Aces list together where I'm allowed to barrel roll, using BB-8 on Wedge, and using the Stress Bot or the Stress Astromech R382, I believe it is, on West, and then using Elo Aste's ability with, I think it was R4K6. That's the one I might be saying that wrong. That allows you to ignore obstacles, so you can do Talon rolls, and it allows you to ignore obstacles throughout the whole round. So you can do Talon rolls through rocks and debris and what have you, and then boost into position if you wanted to get into firing arcs and what have you. So I'm trying to put a Rebels Aces list, again, just to be a little bit different. There was a guy, I believe, in the England area that started taking, it was like on the Nova Squadron Facebook page, twice, and then probably the last 2 weeks he played a couple different store championships or tournaments, and he was playing Wedge, Wes, and Luke Skywalker. It was an interesting combination, and with that, and he's actually been winning them with regular old T-65 X-wings. It was just 3 of them, and that's it. And I was actually surprised. He was, he faced he was putting some of the lists that he faced, like Jump Masters, Imperial Aces, and he was doing, or Desi Whisper list, I think he said one of them was, and he was doing, and he won the tournament. But so just playing something different, again, just trying to change it up just a little bit different. But I do respect the Imperial Aces and the people that play them, because it is a hard list to play. Even I think I played it once. I only played Imperial Aces once. And I'm just not a big, huge Imperial fan, and there's nothing wrong with Imperials. The only Imperial ships that I really enjoy was always the TIE Defenders, and with the new TIE Defender Imperial Vets coming out, that I think that's going to rekindle some of my love for the Imperial Defenders. But other than that, I'm usually playing Scum or Rebel, mostly probably Rebel. I've always been playing, but again, it's an interesting thing. All right. Let's see. I run hounds. Okay, I lost to Swarms, 4 Headhunters, and 1 A-Wing. The other was 5 TIE Fighters, I believe. Yeah. That's the only thing. Swarms can eat you alive, especially with 1 agility. Yeah, I definitely agree. The TIE Fighters was mainly bad piloting on my part, was my first game. The other was just heavy in missiles, and I didn't feel like I had a chance. When you're playing with people with missiles, okay, most missiles and proton torpedoes or whatever those secondary weapons, because they want to use guidance ships. Here's just a rule of thumb: They're mostly range 2 to 3. This is going to sound really weird when I say it, but it's like that baseball bat thing I was telling you about before, right? When you're somebody swinging a baseball bat, you want to get in close. Same thing with 2 to 3 range secondary weapons. You want to get in close. So prime it where you can do a 3 forward. I believe it's a 3 forward. Oh, let me look at the thing here. A 4. Actually, you can even do a 4 forward with the hound, which is basically doing almost a 6. And if the way you start, you do 4 forward, doing a 6, you can get into. So I probably do like a 2 the first round, which will be a 4. If they did a 3 or 4, it's going to basically put them just out of arc of range 3. All right, because most people usually open up with a 2 or 3 opening. Even if they do a 4, I think if you do a 4-4 on both sides, you're just out of arc of range 3. I mean, literally just out of arc. The cool part is if you do a 2 or a 3, the next move, it's like, because with a large ship it's different. I usually do like a 3 or 4 the next round with a small ship. So I usually do a 4 with the next round with a small ship. Because they're going to want to do a 1. They want to slow it up because they want to make sure that you get in range 2 and 3. So if you do a 4 with the large ship, that's a 5. So you probably want to do a 3 so you can just get right in front of them at range 1. When you do that, you get into range 1. They can't fire their secondary weapons. Now, they're shooting their primaries at you. Yeah, okay, it's still going to hurt you. But if you get them where they bump you, 1 less action for them. And then if you're positioned enough where you can get off and shot on at least one of those ships or what have you that didn't bump you or come close to bumping you, it's still pretty nasty. I've done that once or twice with my baby blues where I'm staring down secondary weapons looking at me and I'm like, okay, this is going to hurt. So I do a 4 forward and they do a 4 forward, and I think they just get right out of arc with the 4 forward. The next round, instead of slowing it up, I went another 4 forward. Because I know that they're going to do a 1 or a 2. They're going to slow it up depending on what their dial has. And by me doing that, I was either able, to bump them till they lost their action. They can't shoot their secondary weapons, get the focus or toggle lock that they needed in order to do that. And the second thing is it screwed them all up at bumps. And then I was allowed to shoot range 1. Now, they were allowed to shoot range 1, but at least it wasn't not secondary weapons where I'm getting thrown 4 dice or concussion missiles, I think, where they allows you to shoot twice. So to me, it was like the lesser of 2 evils. And in of course, the T-70's got a little beef behind them. But just something to think about. All right. Let's see. Patrick says I would think Blount would be taken more often to the counter of Imperial Aces. He can knock off stealth device with even doing damage, at least at the rules standpoint. Oh, I'm not familiar with him. Hold on. Now I have to look that up. Hold on 1 second. Let me look this up. B-O-U-N-T. Am I pronouncing that right? Where's that? Oh, the Z95? Oh, I gotta check his ability. I never really look at the Z95. When attacking, the defender is hit. When attacking, the defender is hit by your attack, even if he does not suffer any damage. Ooh. I like that. But the hard part is he's a 6. He's got EPT, so let's say if you throw VI on him and you get him up to an 8, he doesn't have any boost or barrel roll, so that's going to be difficult. Let's see if you don't put VI. Let's just leave him as a 6. Oh, I like that. Here, let me put the wiki on that so everybody can see what you're talking about. So check this page out here. So everybody can see and pull that up. But basically, it says when attacking the defender, it's Lieutenant Blount, Z95 Headhunter. I totally forgot about him. When attacking the defender is hit by your attack, even if he does not suffer any damage. 17 points. I like his ability. He's a 6. He's got 2s all around. He's got the missile upgrade in EPT, which is nice. I'm just trying to think, actually, how would I squeeze him in? What upgrades would I put on him to give me the most thing? Or even, you know what? Oh no, I can't put Astromech on him. I was like, for some reason, just throw Stress Bot on him, just allow him to stress and take hits, knock off Stealth Device. When attacking, the defender is hit by your attack. That's pretty wild. I like that. Nice. I love it. It says, but if you have any other heavy hitter, Blount should be the least of their worries. Range 3 shot, who cares? Yeah, because if you're just removing the Stealth Device to get it off, yeah, I agree with you. But yeah, because it's considered as a hit. And then Stealth Device, I believe it says when you... It's not when you dealt damage. Stealth Device says increase your agility value by one. If you are hit by an attack, discard this card. And then Blount's ability basically says when attacking, the defender's hit by your attack. So therefore it is considered a hit. And there goes Stealth Device. Oh, I like that. Nice. I have to think about that one. But yeah, I totally agree. All right. So, again, this was just more of a test. I was playing around, getting some settings and stuff. I believe Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Nims and I are going to shoot for a live show and just have fun and just talk about a bunch of different things that we wanted to talk about. But again, today was just a test, making sure that everything works for the live show, and it looks like it is. And all my stuff's getting hot and humming along. I don't know if you hear the fans and all that fun stuff. But if you guys like we do, like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks, Jamie. Love the videos. I look forward to watching them. I sent this list based on the Baby Blues. I'll switch out one for Poe and one for an A-Wing. I like that. I've seen that combination. It's a nice combination, especially with Poe, because having a T-70 is still a hard-hitting ship, and having an A-Wing to flank, absolutely. I love it. But definitely let me know if you guys need anything or have any questions. If you need anything, let me know. Put it in the comments below. Or have any questions. Again, this is just a fun video. Just wanted to make sure everything works with this equipment so we can do a live test. Thanks, Jameson. We love you guys too. And have fun, guys. All right, bye.